So we're going to have a group that's going to introduce the Supportive Memory Guide ebook. And so this is basically a new resource, and it looks fabulous. So I know you guys are going to enjoy hearing about this. So Emma O'Brien is the senior occupational therapist for the Memory Technology Resource Rooms in Ireland. She's going to be joined by Kerri Malone, who's a senior occupational therapist in the Louth Primary Care, Orla McDonnell, who's also a senior occupational therapist in the Louth Primary Care, and Kate Hanlon, who's a multimedia specialist working with e-health and disruptive technologies.
Thank you, and welcome to our presentation on the Supportive Memory Guide ebook. And we hope that this resource will empower you with some practical tips and strategies and some useful assistive technology. So I'm Emma O'Brien. I'm a senior occupational therapist with the Memory Technology Resource Rooms. And I'll pass you on to Kerri.
Hi, I'm Kerri Malone, and I'm a senior occupational therapist with Dundalk Primary Care Team. We also have Kate, we're just waiting on Kate, and she is our digital designer with eHealth and disruptive technologies.
And hi everyone, I'm Orla McDonnell, and I'm a senior occupational therapist, as Kim said, just in the Louth Primary Care Team as well. So thank you very much for joining us. So I am just going to put like a little bit of context into how we came about developing this ebook and how the project began. So basically in January 2022, I was seconded out from my post in Louth Primary Care to work with what's called the Empower team, which was a cross-border initiative to enable older people to remain in their own homes. And as part of this, my project was to research how technology can help people who are living with dementia. So from this, we developed our little project group, and we started it, and we thought of what we wanted our aims and our objectives, etc., to be. And we decided that we wanted something that would be provided for people with early intervention, for people that would provide practical tips and educational advice, with our main focus being surrounding technology and how technology can help anyone who's just been diagnosed with dementia, and how they can manage their own diagnosis as much as possible and live as independent lives as possible. So I just want to take this opportunity when we have it here just to thank the Irish Dementia Working Group, who were instrumental for us. They were brilliant. We had focus groups with them who give us very informative information and feedback about the design, the content, everything, and which hopefully they'll agree that we took on board and we made the relevant changes. And as well as the Irish Dementia Working Group, just want to thank any of the healthcare professionals as well that we sent it out to and asked them to read it, and they came back with very valuable feedback as well. So I suppose we're going to maybe start, just Emma's going to share the book, I think.
I'm going to share the book, so it's just a bit of in between both.
And just when Emma's doing that, just to let everybody know that it is available as an ebook, and that was the main thing which we were doing, and we had that's what it is. But we also have a PDF. It's also available as a PDF version as well. You just don't get the active links, which we'll show you now as we go through the book, the active links and the downloads that are in it. But it is available for anybody that doesn't have access to technology as a PDF version as well. So as you can see, this is our book. It's the Supportive Memory Guide, and it's empowering you with practical tips and useful technologies. So we divided it up into 10 chapters, which we felt was kind of covered a variety of key topics that we thought would enable people to manage their own diagnosis. So you can see those 10 chapters there in front of you. And what we're going to do now is just give a brief outline of each one of the chapters. And hopefully everybody will just take the time and read it in their own time. But we'll give a brief overview as to some of the key points in it. So I'm going to start with the first chapter, which is routines and habits. So as we know, we are all creatures of habit. And this will help to having good habits and having good routines will help to protect our memory for longer. So, you know, when we have types of habits such as, you know, hanging the keys on the key hook, and we have that established, that will continue for longer because you will just keep doing it as a habit and not dependent on just your procedural memory. Okay. In this chapter, we just give a couple of tips really for people to help build a good routine. So you'd start with prioritizing your routine, decide what is most important to you and work on that. Make sure that you allocate a little bit of time and space to work on these. Creating a schedule can be a great way to make sure that you plan activities. Also getting a little bit of help in the beginning from a family friend or a member. And a memory book is a very useful tool to have to help you to remember what you did yesterday. And just here, we have an active link that you can watch a video. So I think we're going to play that video as well.
Here I have a memory book. Your memory book does not need to be exactly the same as this book. A standard A5 notebook will work just as well. Every day you begin by recording the day, the date, the month and the year. Below there is a section to write. You write here every day. You do not need to fill up the whole section. Use it to record what you've done that day, different events that may have happened, something you were told, something happening in the world that you read in the paper. Read over what you've written at the end of each day and it will support with jogging your memory and highlight parts of your day. There is a things to do section at the end of each page. It may be picking up prescriptions, having lunch with a friend. Check your to-do list at the end of each day and even review it at the end of each week. The most important part of keeping your memory book is to write down the day, the date, the month and the year.
So that's just the first chapter. So although we have there, the memory book, and that's really the only video we're going to show today, as you go through the book, there's lots of different videos and memory books and different technologies and smart home technologies and different things that you can link to, but we won't be showing any more of the videos today. So the second chapter then is remembrance strategies. And as we know, paying attention is key to making a memory. And I think earlier on, when Charlie was speaking, he made that one of his key points that he had said, that doing things on autopilot, making sure that he doesn't do things on autopilot. So that's kind of what this chapter is about, is having some kind of strategies to help you remember different dilemmas that you might have. So perhaps remembering someone's name, you might use visual imagery, you might use rhyme or alliteration, you might visualize a scenario as to where you know that person from. But the key there as well is just paying attention and repeating it over. And I think Charlie said earlier on that when he's, like making his breakfast, that, he says things out loud. And so that's the key. It's paying attention, really. But so just I was saying there, to remember that you have completed a task, to use a little bit of visual, you can use visual imagery. So for example, if you're pulling out a plug, to think of the prongs hopping out at you. And the chances are, if you're thinking an hour later, because you've concentrated on that task, you've paid attention to it and you've went to the time to build this visual imagery in your mind, the chances are when you try to recall that piece of information, you're going to remember that you did actually turn off that plug. So that's remembering a completed task. So also condensing and remembering information. So there's 4 W's that you can use if you're condensing and trying to remember information. So the who, what, where, and when. So this is very useful if somebody's telling you something and you're very interested in it and you actually really want to be able to recall it and tell somebody else again. You can use your little notebook if you have it and write down just the 4 W's. If you're reading a newspaper article or watching something on the news that's really, takes your interest, you can condense that information by saying, right, okay, so who was involved in that? What was the general gist of the story? Where did it happen and when did it happen? And if you have those 4 W's, that's going to give you key pieces of the information and you're going to be able to, it'll help you to be able to recall what it was you were reading or looking at or listening to. So I'm going to pass you over to Emma and Emma's going to continue with the next couple of chapters. So thank you very much, everybody.
That's great. Thanks, Orla. So I'm going to just chat through the next few. The next topic that we covered in the ebook is on scheduling and planning. A really good habit to build into your daily routine is a scheduling support system. And we know as dementia impacts memory, this can then affect knowing when certain appointments or special dates, events, and activities are on. So in this section, we have given 4 different strategies for you to pick 1 or 2. Or all, whichever suits. So the first one is on a diary, and this is a great to use to input known dates ahead of time. So at the beginning of the year, you might fill it up with all the birthdays and anniversaries. It's also good to use at the start of the week, and this really kind of roots you in the week ahead, to really schedule in things that you have to attend to and things that you might like to do, like meeting a friend. So writing this in is another way to support making the memory, because you're focused and attending to it. So that will help with recall. If you click on the more information, I won't now, but if you do, it brings you to the back of the ebook, and this has a bit more of a tips page outlining how to use a diary successfully. And so we also have strategies on using a calendar. And again, if you click here, you'll get a link to the free printable calendar template. And these have nice spaces to fill in, you know, anything coming up that month. And then on this, the final two then are a weekly schedule or using a daily planner. And this, again, it depends on what works best for you. But these are great in a way to set some goals and things you might want to get done. And if I click, I'm just going to click this one here. These two here have links to the back of the book. Again, they're templates that you can download. So if I click here, it brings you to the back, and this is, if you can see it, the daily planner. And so it's good in the morning, maybe with your cup of coffee, think, what do I need to get done today? And it's another good way to use as a checklist. So I'm just going to go back to the contents. You can always go back to the contents you see here as well. So I'm going to move on now to the next chapter that we covered, which is a focus on a supportive home environment. And really, our home environments can be a great support, giving us a sense of security and familiarity. As dementia can impact on managing certain tasks or engaging in certain tasks, this chapter really provides some tips on ways to optimize your home environment. And so we begin here with a bit of a declutter checklist. And this might be used to focus just on certain areas. You know, we don't expect you to have to clear all your spaces. However, though, some countertops or presses and clothing might need minimizing to help independent and safe engagement. So the chapter also provides some information on the importance of good lighting, especially as we age. The level of lighting needs to be increased, and so there's just some tips here on that. And then also a link to the NCBI, which is the National Council for the Blind, down here to their website they have really good tips about optimizing the lighting in your home. And so again, some other tips are put here on the other page, but you can read through them at your own time. The importance and consideration for things like the design and the color and contrast we use. Again, as we get older, perceiving color, you know, lessons, I guess. And so strong color contrasts can be really good if you want to identify certain things. So there's some more content there, and then just general safety in the home, you know, tips as well given in the section. The other part of the home environment we thought important was just to highlight the use of compensatory techniques, such as using labels, you know, finding a clear place for something and putting a label on it, for instance, the post when it comes in. And also, you know, you can use Post-it notes if they help you, but whatever system might work for you. The next then has some information on a memory board. Again, you'll see links here to watch a video. And just even reminders where you need them. And again, everyone is individual, so you'll know and have a think about what might work best for you. So just move us then along just for the next chapter. We just thought it was important to cover specifically managing medications, which is really important to ensure that appropriate medications are taken at the right time and consistently. So we really advise, though, anyone who would be struggling with this to chat with the doctor or the pharmacist and the occupational therapist on ways to maybe support consistent taking. However, though, you can create simple things in your home just to make it more visible and part of your routine. And so here we've suggested a few things, like the medication blister pack from the pharmacist is good, as it has those dosed medications ready. And we also have just a few ideas on keeping it in a visual place, maybe using a visual prompt. or setting a timer or reminder on your phone. There's also a link here to a really nice app if people are into smart technologies. And again, this will just prompt you to when to take there is a video link here as well to an automatic pill dispenser, which you might be interested to click and look at. And so next up then is other simple home technologies. So I said earlier, I'm working with the memory technology resource rooms, and these are a national service, and they are located across the country. So in a memory technology resource room, you'll meet with an occupational therapist who will discuss much of what's in this booklet and more, but will have it individualized to you. One of the key aspects, though, of the memory technology resource rooms is the huge range of assistive technologies and activities that we have on demonstration. This really gives you a good hands-on experience to see what things are like, how they sound, how they might work. And we've developed a lot of considerations on each of these, but we've picked a few of them for the ebook and put in some videos as well. So the first there you'll see is an object locator. It helps with keys or sticking them onto the back of your remote control. Whatever tends to be misplaced often, it's good to put one of these key rings on, and you see the little remote then will click and ring your item, so to help you find it in the house. The other then is the orientation clocks, which are really good to help with orientating to the day. And then we have some on the simple remote controls, simple home phones, and some information there again on the lighting, which we do feel is really important. And you will find links, to the memory technology resource room there if you're interested to find out more on this section here. Okay, and so I'm going to hand over now to Kerri, who's going to talk about smart home technologies.
Thank you, Anna. Yeah, so chapter 7, we covered smart home technologies. So for those of you engaging in smart home technologies such as Alexa or Google Home, this can be a great existing support in your home. This chapter provides ideas and skills you can add to your smart home technology to support independence and engagement. So you can use it, and there's just also a short demonstration on the ebook that will bring you in to show it at work as well, similar to the style of the memory book that Orla showed. So just if you want to move on to the next page, just to show you a few of the things that they can do is create timers and alarms, even just to support with cooking. The reminders can also be, you can have a daily reminder to support with the medication, as Emma was discussing, or even a weekly reminder to remember to bring the bins out. You can use your Alexa or your Google to create shopping lists and connect with the news, the weather for the day, so you know whether to bring your umbrella or not, play music or make calls. You can also use it to connect to smart home enabled devices. So the smart home enabled devices would be the likes of the plugs, the smart bulbs, the smart thermostat, the smart doorbell, and just in that demonstration video, it also demonstrates those things that work. And there's also links within that chapter to give you more information on the Alexa and the Google and how they can help develop your skills within your smart home technologies. So from there, we moved into chapter 8, which was our smartphones. And there is so much we can now do with smartphones. They are brilliant. However, it can be more challenging as dementia progresses. But the thing about smartphones is they can be simplified. And we use this part of this chapter to look at simplifying our smartphones, such as simplifying your screen by removing some apps. Also enhancing your screens, considering text size and background color contrast. And then also we considered how to make a phone call more simple by deleting apps or having your favorite list. So there's lots of information within these, within this chapter about making your smartphone more user-friendly. And then there's also just more generic tips, again, about using your phone as a reminder, taking notes, using voice activation. There's also an app called Big Launcher, now not for an iPhone, but for an Android phone, which is an excellent resource for simplifying a home screen. We also provide a link for that, and also Dora phones. If you decided that you want to move from a smartphone, Dora is a brand that have created a mobile that is a lot more user friendly, and information again with links in the ebook are for that Dora phone. So we've also then identified some apps for the smartphone we thought would be a good resource. Apps that support with scheduling, reminders, brain training, location, and reminiscence apps. So they're all available. We've also linked in demonstration videos for practical advice for managing memories, with permission from occupational therapists from Cork and Kerri, and also Sabina Brennan of Trinity College in Dublin. So those links are available, and they're an excellent resource. And just also Charlie Brake earlier on highlighted brilliantly about just the importance of keeping active and engaged. And it is so important. And that's what chapter 9 is all about. So after a diagnosis of dementia, it might seem easier to refrain from socializing or stop doing activities that you once did, both at home and socially. So this chapter provides helpful advice on staying engaged and active. So the tips that might involve would be setting goals. It could be breaking down the steps of an activity. We've also included an activity planner, and you can download that from the ebook. And we've provided links and websites on local community groups to encourage people to get out and get active. We also provided advice then within this chapter on keeping your mind active, your mental well-being, and very importantly, tips on getting a good night's sleep. So from here, I'm going to hand on to Kate, who's going to talk through the next few chapters. Thanks, Kate.
So at the very back of the book, this is the last chapter. We mentioned a lot of links and resources throughout this entire book. So we start off, we wanted to make an index of all of them so that if you read a chapter and you want to come back and find the resource, it's easy to do so. So these pages here are just printable, downloadable, assistive pages. So you'll be able to print off your daily planners, etc. Here we have the index of all the apps and technology videos that we mentioned. Again, it's just easy to go back to this page and say, I want to look at the Luminosity app, and you get a link straight to that rather than having to go through the whole book again. So I'll just quickly move on through the rest of them. Here we have a load of links for healthcare, your dementia advisors. We also have links for your social groups, all the stuff that we mentioned, but a little bit more information at the back. So my role in this was the digital designer. I'm not an occupational therapist, and I wouldn't previously have experience working with patients who have dementia. So my role was to pull all the information that the girls got together in a way that was visually appealing, and it was easy to use for the clients that we were designing it for. Again, because the target audience is a group that I wouldn't really have experience working with, it was a great learning curve for me to design in a way that was accessible, and it was easy to use for people living with dementia. A way that we did this was using bright, bold colours. As you can see, the book is made up of a colour palette of bright blues and primary colours. And this assists with the high contrast, making sure that it's easy to read and it's optimised for aging eyes. Again, there's a lot of information in the book, as you can probably see. So we wanted it not to feel overwhelming. It's not necessarily a book that's designed to be read in one sitting, cover to cover. So we define it into chapters, and we utilise videos and icons and graphics where we could. So it's not just a lot of text that seems kind of overwhelming when you open the book. Again, we just wanted it to be easy to read. That's why we have the links to all the different chapters, and it's easy just to get through the book bit by bit as you need it. So this book is hosted on eHealth Ireland. I think you all got the link to that already. On that page, you'll be able to find a PDF version of the book, the ebook itself, and also the feedback. We are very keen to collect feedback from people who are actually using the book. And as you can see on the next slide here, we've got a little bit of results. So overall, the feedback that we've gotten has been overwhelmingly supportive. Is the ebook easy to navigate? We have 75% that it was. Were the strategies helpful? Again, 83%. And finally there, how would they rate it? Overall, 83% said it was good and 17% said it was neutral. So we would love to get your feedback on this. If anyone wants to use the book, we'd be delighted to get your feedback. It's available from this link and it has already been sent out to you.